All right, welcome. In today's explainer, we're going to take a journey through the history of food safety. Now, this isn't just a history lesson. For all of you in food science and technology, this is really the story of where our entire discipline comes from. It's this constant battle between human innovation and risk, and it all leads up to the incredibly sophisticated systems that protect all of us today. So, let's get started.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start by laying down some foundational concepts. Then, we'll travel from those really ancient preservation methods to the huge changes during the Industrial Revolution. After that, we'll explore the key scientific breakthroughs that, honestly, changed everything. And finally, we'll land on the modern, proactive systems that we use right now.
Before we can really dig into the past, we have to be super precise with our language. You know this. In science, definitions are everything. So let's establish the two core concepts that are going to guide our entire discussion.
First up, food safety. It's so important to understand this not as just a list of rules, but as a scientific discipline. Its whole purpose is proactive. It's preventative. It's all about the systematic handling, preparation, and storage of food with one goal in mind: to stop illness before it can even start. Okay, and a very closely related field is food toxicology. So while food safety is broad, toxicology kind of zooms in on the harmful substances themselves. And this could be anything, right? From toxins that occur naturally in plants to chemicals that get introduced during processing. Understanding the toxin is absolutely key to controlling the risk.
All right, let's rewind the clock and turn to our first historical era. You have to remember, for most of human history, food safety wasn't a science. It was really just a desperate struggle for survival against an enemy you couldn't even see: microbial spoilage.
You know, ancient societies were incredibly innovative with what they had. Methods like salting, drying, smoking, and fermentation, these were developed all over the world. And they all work on a pretty similar principle. You create an environment that's hostile to the microbes that make food go bad. This wasn't just about making things taste good. This was about making it through the winter. This was about survival.
But, and this is the crucial point, these methods were all based on observation, not on any real scientific understanding. Without knowing about bacteria or microbiology, they were imperfect. Contamination was just a fact of life, and foodborne illness was a constant and often fatal risk that led to these widespread health crises that people just accepted as unavoidable.
Now, let's jump forward to a period of absolutely massive change. The Industrial Revolution completely altered how people lived, how they worked, and how they ate. And it introduced food safety challenges on a scale nobody had ever seen before.
So let's just walk through this timeline. As people started moving into cities, the food supply chain got longer and longer. Mass production kicks off, but with zero oversight. This led to just rampant food adulteration. Adding cheap, or sometimes even harmful fillers to make a product go further. A really notorious example was milk. It was often diluted, it was adulterated, and it caused severe illness, especially in children. Eventually, the public outcry got so loud it forced the government to act, which led to the landmark Pure Food and Drug Act of 1906 in the US, really the dawn of modern regulation. Regulation was one huge piece of the puzzle, but the other part, and you could argue the more important part, was science. For the very first time, we were starting to actually understand that microscopic world that was responsible for all this spoilage and disease. Louis Pasteur's work in the 1860s was a complete game changer. This was the critical turning point. He proved that if you heat liquids like milk to a specific temperature for a certain amount of time, you could kill the harmful microbes that caused both spoilage and disease. Pasteurization gave us a scientific, repeatable method to make food safer, and you just can't overstate its impact.
Now, canning is such a fascinating case study in how technology can sometimes get way ahead of scientific understanding. It was invented way back in 1809, decades before Pasteur did his work. And while it was an incredible preservation technique, not understanding anaerobic bacteria like Clostridium botulinum made early canning a deadly gamble. See, improperly canned foods created this perfect oxygen-free environment for that pathogen to just thrive, leading to these horrific outbreaks. It's a really stark reminder that innovation without science can be dangerous.
So this brings us into the 20th century and to the development of what is, without a doubt, the most important food safety system in the world today. And it was a system born from maybe the most demanding challenge you can imagine: sending people into space. Meet HACCP. It stands for Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points. The key words here, the ones you have to remember, are systematic and preventative. See, unlike the old methods where you'd maybe test the final product and just hope it was safe, HACCP is designed to prevent hazards from ever getting into the food in the first place. It analyzes the entire process from the very start to the very end.
And the origin story is just fantastic. In the 1960s, NASA needed a system that could guarantee, with absolute certainty, that the food they sent up with astronauts was totally free of any biological, chemical, or physical hazards. I mean, think about it. You can't have a food poisoning incident in a space capsule. So the system they developed was HACCP, and it was so effective, so logical, that it was quickly adopted and is now the global gold standard for food safety management in almost every part of the food industry.
So that brings us to our final thought for today. We've traced this clear evolution, right? From just reacting to spoilage to proactively, systematically preventing it. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. When you reflect on its origins in the space program and its systematic nature, why do you think HACCP have remained the undisputed cornerstone of modern food safety for over half a century? What is it that makes that system so resilient and so effective?